to go with because we're recording.
Oh, brilliant.
So we're trying to do to get it to work is not going to be recorded. So it's we're recording this, but this is for Nickvember. As you notice, the next movie that we're doing is Fairly Oddparents Channel Chasers, and I asked Robbie for the mustard, and here's the list of stuff for to review. Are there any that you want to review because this is a movie that you grew up watching? This is the show that you grew up watching. And even though we're not talking about Invader Zim, which I kind of wanted him to, but I am really my Invader Zim shirt because this is a Nickelodeon themed month. That was but we're talking about the Fairly Oddparents TV movie Channel Chasers. So, Robbie, do you want to give us a rundown about what the general the movie? You have to kind of understand what the general premise of the show was, because, like this, I said in the SpongeBob SquarePants movie review that I did last, that the actually released SpongeBob movie was supposed to be the last episode of the show, but Nick was like, "This is making us a lot of money, so we're keep making episodes, even though it's intended by Steven Hillenburg to be the finale." Very much so, Channel Chasers was intended by Butch Hartman, the last episode of the Fairly Oddparents series, because he wanted to work on Danny Phantom, which came out like later summer the next year or something. So if you look at like when the episodes aired, there was like a full hiatus between when this episode aired and when this episode aired, even though they're technically season, because this was intended to be the series finale. So to understand the episode, you have to kind of understand what the general premise of the show is. So we're going to have you explain what that is. So we'll give you a chance to talk.
Yes, sure. Thank you for having me, Josh, on here to talk about one of my favourite cartoons growing up. I love the Fairly Odd Parents. So this is about a boy called Timmy Turner, voiced by Tara Strong. He's one of the best voice actors ever. Uh, so Timmy is neglected by his parents and bullied by the school bully, his babysitter, and his high school teacher, who's obsessed with fairies. So he has these two fairies called Cosmo and Wanda. They never explain this, but normally when he meets other kids who have fairly odd parents, they just have one. But Timmy has two who are a married couple called Cosmo and Wanda, and there's a really good dynamic with them because Wanda's the smart one and Cosmo's the stupid one, and they really work well together. And obviously, Timmy is obviously the normal person. So yes, so in this one, in the Abracatastrophe one, Mr. Crocker was the villain. So it made sense to have Vicky be the villain of Channel
Yeah,
Chasers.
I addressed that in my Abercast review. I said that because by the time people out there are watching this, they'll have already seen it because it'll come out a couple days ago. But I said that because we have not seen the review of that yet, because when we're recording, we haven't seen it yet. But I said that having the monkey stuff kind of like, I mean, I enjoyed it because it was a spoof of Planet of the Apes, but it doesn't really need to be there. You could have easily had it been replaced with Mickey. And I said, I know there is a movie where Mickey is the villain, and this is that movie. So, yeah.
Yes, yes. So in Channel Chasers, and this is also teaches Timmy the lesson of that when he grows up, he's gonna end up losing his fairy. So that's kind of the other center point is
Which
obviously
I do have a slight problem with the ending, so we'll get to that. So just spoiler warning for the episode 20 years ago now. So if you haven't seen it, I guess watching on Paramount Plus or something, I come back and watch this. But I will be talking about the endings, watching it, and I'm like, ooh, that's a little bit of a cop out. So I do have my issues with it, but we'll get to that in a sec.
sure, sure, that's fine. I'm happy to hear yours. What I like about this one is that they parody a lot of really fun TV shows and shows that I love, like the Peanuts and the Simpsons and Sesame Street.
But here's the time.
Yeah.
It is like I didn't know what Johnny Hunt was. I look at it's Johnny Quest, which I never heard of before watching this episode. I guess it's another Hanna Barbera cartoon. I'm sure it's like, hey, it was intended to be the finale. I wanted this to go out with bang. Since this is a TV show, I wanted this episode to be a TV show paying tribute to all the TV shows I grew up with.
Makes sense. Is Mahu Mushi meant to be a parody of Dragon Ball Z? And I don't know where Josh has gone, but
So everything this. Could you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. Is Mahomushi a parody of Dragon Ball Z?
Yes. It's actually a parody of various things because they say it's a popular card game. So it's because you'll notice they tried the Voltron suits as well. So I think it's just an animation, an anime parody in general. Especially because I noticed this yesterday when I watched it when they're fighting. Their fighting words are Miyazaki and who's the guy that did Seven Samurai? I can't remember his name now. That was the other
Oh, Kurosawa.
Kurosawa. Yeah, their
Yeah,
attack moves are Miyazaki and Kurosawa, which I thought was pretty funny. So they
that was
did their
quite funny.
especially it's like you're all the animation body. Okay, that's they did their research on this.
Yes, yes. And also one of the voice actors has a live action role in this. The one that voices Chester.
He plays their parody of Steve. Ignore my shaming to the 5 o'clock shadow. I'm actually a kid. I'm like, oh, their own shows. And it shows how like they're very choosy about who can do it because going back to Invader Zim, they premiered on the same exact day. And there's an episode of Invader Zim where there's an alien baby. There's alien babies that look like human babies. And that's the one that Zim has to fight his alien babies because they're going to take over the world, and that's his job. He wants to take over the world. He wants to take over Earth. Well, who made the show wanted to make the main alien baby look like Tommy from Rugrats, and Nick said, "No, you can't do that." So, but yet they'll parody their shows. Show it seems they didn't like it for some reason with how they treated it. So I guess they liked Butch Hartman more than they did Zeb. So I'm
Probably.
still better treated boy.
Yes, yes. And I'm assuming Alec Baldwin was the biggest actor they got
So,
for this project.
what?
Alec Baldwin's in this. He's like the biggest actor
Yeah,
Fairly Oddparents have gotten so far.
yeah. He plays the future version of Timmy in this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, my one problem with this episode is the ending though, because it shows that his parents were, but I don't know. I mean, you don't. I mean, I get that he forgot Cosmo and Wanda. I forget that, but you don't forget. Like he forgets Cosmo, but how does he forget everything else that happened to him? How does he forget the reason he treated him, not Wanda? So part of his memory should not have been erased. So I think that what better ending would have been showing him that he is a better parent than his parents were. So I don't know. I just have the problem with the endings that he's just as negligent as his parents were. I felt
Yeah, I kind of get what you mean by that, and yeah, I
like a little bit
kind
of a
of get.
cop out. But I think a better
I
ending would be
kind
to
of,
show that his
yeah, yeah. Like, I know what they were trying to do. They were trying to make it so that when he's an adult, that he mirrors
yeah,
his mum and dad. But yeah, you're right that he should have learned to be a better parent than his mum and dad.
yeah, it should have showed his kids don't need fairies because he's a better parent than his parents were.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it would have been a much more satisfying ending. So the end kind of felt like a cop out because it feels like he's learning.
Yeah, yeah, you're exactly right there. And I'm guessing their future is either this year or next year.
It feels like they're so. Which I'll talk about that when I get to that. I do think Fair Idol one's funny, but I'll talk about that in a few days when I get around to reviewing that one. So yeah, but I do think this was. I mean, the episodes were every single time it's super funny because they put a lot of research into the different animated styles of the shows. It's all very unique. They even spent puppet versions of the show that only lasts like what 30 seconds. They went to the like puppet characters of them for the
Yeah.
Sesame Street parody.
I think
So
that's my favorite segment in the whole thing, where they're puppets. I just like how like they all
yeah,
fly for the TV and you see a hand dragging them in.
yeah. Actually, the original version of that scene was one of the puppets was going to get stuck in the TV, and then Butch Hartman was going to come into frame and push the puppet in, but they decided to go with that take instead. They thought that was a little bit too much breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah.
Other thing, um, Vicky's plan. Okay, so we know from the Abracatastrophe movie that Crocker took over the world. So Vicky is now the one wanting to take over, though. It feels like it's out of nowhere. That doesn't feel like that was ever set up in any other episode. No, I guess they just wanted a reason for her to be the villain. I don't get why she's in the world now. It doesn't make sense to me that that's her plan. We're trying to see how well she can play that character because I guess they want to cast her as Azula in Avatar. How well can you play a crazy lady who wants to rule the world? Okay, well, you did this really well. Now you're Azula. So, yeah, precursor to that show.
Yeah, I kind of see what you mean. Like they're being a bit too repetitive because the villain of the show is in a situation where they just randomly want to take over the world. And yeah, Vicky doesn't want to take over the world. She just wants to be horrible to kids. And Denzel Crocker doesn't want to take over the world. He's just obsessed with fairies. So both kind of go a bit
The first
too over the top.
he does mention that, what just need to find friends. So they did set that up like way back then. But
Yeah,
Vicky, you know, he's just insane and likes to torture children. But now it's like I'm going to take over the world now. Okay, well, where did that come from? You didn't
yeah,
set that up. So
no, no. Like even with schools out, they even set up with the Pixies, so they take over Fairy World in their first episode.
yeah, the Pixies took over Fairworld. So, and even in the Jimmy Timmy movie that I talked about yesterday, a couple days ago, if you're watching this in the future after record this, Crocker takes over Fairy World for a little bit because Timmy's not there to stop him because Jimmy Neutron's.
Yeah,
So yeah, but with Vicky, that just seems like completely out of nowhere.
yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. But one thing I do like about this is when Mr. Dimmadome recounts the encounters he's had with Timmy. I thought that was really good.
That was a nice little way to cap off the series. Like, they destroyed my car, but he found my son. But then he messed up my basketball team, and then he did this and this and this. I thought that was pretty funny. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that was quite fun.
it's an hour, but I would have loved to see like maybe another show. So yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. But yeah, watching this today, rewatching this, it kind of brought back a lot of nostalgia for me, and I really enjoyed watching it again.
Yeah, it's super funny. Watching I get more jokes now than I did as a kid when I watched it. Like, yeah, okay, now I understand that reference and that joke. So it's great.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. IMDb rates it 8.2 out of 10.
See a 9, and really it would be a 10, except for those issues that I already mentioned. You know, I think he's planned and how the ending kind of messes up Timmy's character growth or lack thereof. So if it were those issues, it would be a 10. I mean, again, don't make her plan take over the world. I don't know what it could have been, but it'd be something else.
Yeah,
So
definitely. I'll give it a 4 out of 5 and an 8 out of 10.
yeah, same. Well, I would get 9 out of 10. So, but yeah, this gets any minus for me. So 9 out of 10 and 8, 4 out of 5. So,
Nice. Yeah, I'd say A minus as well.
although I think it'd be more appropriate to give it a half because
Yes.
Timmy,
Yeah.
Timmy's support card today. So, so that was our little review What you guys thought of this episode or this movie. Is this a show that you grew up with? Do you agree that this should have ended? What do you think of the other Fairly Oddparents movies that came out after this, like Fairy Idol, Channel Chaser, or Fairly Odd in a few days? And thank you for being on the show again.
Lovely. Thank you for having me on the show, Josh. I'm on YouTube as well. Josh has been on my podcast, Fleming Film Talk, so make sure you check that out. My YouTube channel is Robbie Fleming. Just type me in. You can watch Fleming Film Talk. You can see my direct ranks videos, and you can see my reviews.
Yep, I will link to it in the description and in the end screen. And I'll link to a couple other videos that we did too, or I'll try to if I can find them. So hey, thank you again. So hey, if there's any other movie they want to talk about later, just let me know and we'll see if I can make it happen.
Sure. I'm thinking the third Jimmy and Timmy movie next.
Yeah. So I already reviewed I already reviewed the first one like yesterday.
Okay.
Or a couple days ago, depending on when this comes out. I have not reviewed 2 or 3 yet. So if you want to talk about 2 or 3, let me know. I'll let you know what day the project come out. Because I'm recording this like November is super crazy with all the other stuff coming out, like Trolls 3, Hunger Games, Wish. There's a ton of stuff coming out in November. Plus, I'm going to be out of town for a convention around Thanksgiving week. So I have to record all of this in advance, which is why we're recording this in October. So I actually have so
I see. But yeah, thank you for inviting me on to talk about this really fun television movie.
yeah, that was great. Very well done.
Thank you.
Great for you. So I'll link to the channel in the description, you guys. I am making this do and subscribe to Robbie's channel, and we will be just for the reviews or a collaboration. We'll see. Thank you again for being on the show, and I'll see you next time.
Yes. Thank you for having me on, Josh. I'll see you very soon.
Thank you.
It's all right.